Alright everybody, so today we're going to be tackling, I'm not sure if it's round 3 or round 4, but basically the end of my platform. So I've been using this platform in my 2003 Super Crew. It's the Lariat version, and it's the 5.4 liter, but that doesn't matter. This will work for anything. It's the platform where I took out the back seats of my truck, and the idea was to have a platform in there, so that way I had more room for storage underneath, because my back seats were always down for the dogs, the Great Danes. So real quick, just to look at it. So I already did part 1 of the video where I showed a little bit of how to make the platform. Number 2 video showed how I did the carpeting. Or should I say where I got the carpeting, and also the mat that's underneath that carpeting. But so this is what it looks like. Kind of messy right now. But my whole idea was the back seats were always down, and I never really had anybody in them. They were always down for the dogs, so I kind of thought to myself, why not instead make a platform, so that way all that underneath space that I'm not being able to utilize now I can utilize for storage and stuff like that. So far it's been good. I did that originally before I got this soft topper. So before I just had a flat hard top on the back of the truck. So now I can store a lot more stuff in my back. So I'm not sure necessarily if I still need it as much as I did before, but I still like it and enjoy it. But what I never did do is I never attached the carpet all the way. I just folded it and kept it in there. That way I could see to make sure it worked properly. And it does. It works awesomely. So for today, I'm going to attach the carpet to the wood. And to do that, I'm going to try a couple of different techniques. I'm going to try some Gorilla adhesive glue. This worked really well for the matting that's on it underneath. Of course, a hammer. I'm going to maybe even use my DeWalt carbon fiber composite for the staples. This gun can actually shoot also brad nails, but unfortunately not the size that I got. But I might use some of these anyways by hand with a hammer. X-Acto knife, so I can cut any extra. And the only other thing I might use, I don't have a picture in here, is a my impact driver, in case I want to use various size screws for any part of this. But further ado, let's get her started. Alright, I think you guys can see that pretty well. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously take all the tools up. And get right into it. So already know some spots that I need to cut off is that. It's extra. Good. It's right about there. And I'm going to keep extras just in case if I want to use them for something. So I'm going to try a couple variations, because I've learned multiple variations usually work best for something like this. So I'm going to try to use some of that adhesive glue mixed in with actually stapling it down. And the good thing about this is, now that I've had it in here for months without actually attaching it, it's had a good amount of time to actually keep. And I think you guys can see those, the edges, so you can see the lines. You can also see how dirty the carpet's gotten. And what's good about something like this too is this carpet's so cheap that you can always take it off and replace it if you wanted to. Give that a quick shake out. Wow, look at that. So now you can see those mats, and that was just the yoga mat is all I used. See all the dust on them. So that's all sand getting through that carpet onto these. I'm not sure what that is. Now, as you can see, this matting's held down quite well, actually. In the future, again, I never did it, but I still might eventually put one down there. So let me just give that a really good scrub off because I want that surface to be nice and clean for the glue. Like I've said, my dogs have been using that for a few months now. So that matting looks really good for how old it is. Another thing I think I'm going to use on this maybe is this to go with the spray. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Okay, so again, shake can, hold 6 to 8 inches from it. The surface to be joined and the tack. So let's hope that this is not clogged. Something coming out. Now I'm working a little faster than I probably would like to on this, but that's because it's really hot out here. And because it's so hot, I'm kind of afraid this is going to dry pretty quick. Alright, now it's time to throw this on. Okay, so the video cut off. The actual phone, my phone, actually got too hot for some reason out here and it turned off. It's not even that hot out here in San Diego, but maybe it is. It's probably in like high 80s, low 90s, I don't know. But the only thing you missed was I just adjusted it a little bit, smoothed it out, and I am letting it dry right now onto that carpet to let it adhere. So the thing I was saying while it cut out was that's why, if you notice, I sprayed it also on here, because I want these edges to stick. I should have probably sprayed it on along here a little bit better, and we'll see. So like right now I can always do that and see how well it's sticking, right? So you can see it's not sticking great, to be honest. It could be it's just not strong enough, slash it just dries too quickly, maybe? But it's only been drying for about 2 minutes, so if that. Okay, that side's nice and on. And what's great is I can always lift up and reapply. Now let me make sure that doesn't get clogged by simply wiping it away. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit more. We're going to do some touching ups, and then we'll get to the next part. Alright, so everything's pretty dry. I adjusted and tweaked some things on it, resprayed it. So now I'm going to try to secure the edges, and I think I'm going to leave the extra and try to just use some staples and see how that works. I'm keeping kind of far away just because the heat out here, so hopefully the shade will not shut this off and you guys will see this. To make it a little easier, I'm going to lift it up and turn it on its opposite side. Now that should be a lot easier to work with, and I can also see what areas are not really glued down right. As you can see, I'm trimming to make it that much tighter, but I'm not trying to get it perfect. So two things I'm doing right there is I'm trimming back extra pieces, so this way I can get a tighter, smoother fit around it, and I can use those extra trim pieces for maybe any miscalculated spots or spots I want a little bit more padding on. Another thing is when I'm stapling about 1 inch to 2 inches away from the edges. So let me show you. So on this one, I cut it back so it's right there, sprayed down some extra adhesive, so now I have adhesive on the carpet, on the wood, and then staple about 1 inch, maybe 2 inches away from the edges all the way through, so I'm boxing it in. And I like to do that just so it gives it some room, so this way it's not going to flap up, but it still can move a little bit on those edges, so this way it's not going to rub up against that metal too much. I guess I could have boxed it in here as well. I might eventually, but this is holding it pretty tight as is, and once it holds tight on that end, this should not be able to shift either way. But we'll see. And like I said, as I go, I'm going to fix some things that I've already seen, like this area a little bit. But just wanted to show you guys that up close. So what I do is, boom, right? And then I'm cutting those edges. And I keep doing that all the way around. And then I have the edges in the middle. All right. And I think you guys can see that.
Excuse me. Can you please pass me a ball that's like just right here? It's right there.
Alright, got a couple of these corners are done. So as you can see again, I go about an inch, 2 inches. There's a little bit of a flap, and I'm okay with that. You know, I might end up doing like one at a slant right here maybe. But overall, that's working out pretty good. I do try to hit one on the carpet where it intersects down there, just because I feel like that would be a spot where it could easily come up. And then you see I'm using the glue. The only bad thing with the glue is because it's hot out here, it's goggling up. So I got that edge. I think the hardest part is going to be fixing that, because I have this cutout because Napoleon, the older of the two Great Danes and the bigger guy, he likes to put his feet down, touching the floor as he lays on this. And he sits right at the front seat. So I cut out a little cutout for him. So we'll see how I can figure out to make that look a little bit better for him, and at the same time do something with these so I can get make sure it's nice and soft for him. Okay, so on that piece I started messing up. I was putting the staples towards the outer edge. So at that bottom line versus the top edge. So I had to switch it real quick and I'll show you what I mean. So I started putting them here. On accident. And remember, I want them up here just because this is going to be tight already, just because of the way I'm doing it. So I'm not really worried about this part coming in tight as much as I am worried about up here. So if that's secure. The other thing I just did on every corner is a corner clip intersecting the whole thing. The only part that's kind of worried me is this part because it's so thick. But the staples are pretty big. So these are the biggest staples that I have, and I didn't want to go buy any more, is 8 millimeters. So they're fairly big. We'll see. I'm on that last little edge. Alright, pretty good and done. So all I did is trim that back, flop it over, so you can see there still is a little bit. That is actually really nice, because all I have to do with something like that is cut a piece and fold it over it. This is a little bit more janky, because it's all kind of, so I'm going to have to probably cut that out. And then I could just fold a nice little piece over here to fix this. So, on my last couple pieces. Alright, so I'm actually at a roadblock now that I think about it. So a piece like this would be perfect. I got the straight edge right there, so I could overlap it here, overlap it there, overlap it here. But my problem is, I didn't really want to have any staples on this side if I didn't have to. And by doing this, I would obviously have to staple this side down. That's not ideal. So I'm not really sure. I could also maybe throw some kind of paint on that just to smooth it out. So my worry is that even though I've already smoothed it out with some sanding, that it still, you know, might rub against the dog's legs. Slash, now this is kind of open to where this could come off easier. So I'm going to first flip it around and maybe look at it from an angle with that carpet and see just how it looks. Maybe I don't need to do anything at all. Alright guys, so what I decided to do is just use patches. I've really wanted to use the paint, but what I thought about was because I left these open, not so much worried about the dog scrubbing them after I really felt them, as much as I was worried about more of, because this is open, that gives room for this to start to tear back. Paint wouldn't fix that, right? So I patched it. The only bad part is, so I stapled it underneath, and then I decided, oh, I was just going to staple up here. But the bad thing is, this is the rubber matting, right? So this part, I didn't leave rubber matting. And because the staples are so small, and the rubber padding is so good that it's still bouncy and fluffy and plush, should I say, that when I stapled it, I was easily able just to kind of barely pull up, and the staple came right out because it wasn't adhering to the wood underneath. It was just to this rubber plush. So what I did is staples there, underneath in a box style, same thing, box style, and then I just used the adhesive Gorilla Glue on top. So up here and up here, and then this little patch one was kind of janky. I used 1 or 2 little screws right there, and some adhesive glue that I'm letting dry right now, and I'm not sure if that's going to be good, but I'm hoping so. There's not too much lines here, but obviously, you know, this is where, if any place the dog would pull on and come up, and if it does, oh well, I'll find some form of something that I could put on here. Maybe even going to the dollar store or something and finding some carpet and just doing a one big strip all the way down and then under, and then that way I can staple it all down nice and tight. But that's it. That looks good. Another cool hack that I made a video of before, but it worked out great for something like this, is because I'm working with a lot of sticky stuff, i.e. the Gorilla Glue. It gets on your hands and sometimes soap won't get it off. Alcohol. So just cheap rubbing alcohol, 70-80%. Alcohol itself eats away at sticky material. So same thing, you might even see a little bit of overspray right here. That's still a little sticky. I'm not sure if it's going to be sticky when it completely dries or not, but what my plan is to do is I'm just going to use like a cloth, microfiber towel, one of those things with a smidge spray or two of alcohol, and I'm just going to slightly rub it, and what it'll do is it'll get rid of all this excess spray glue. Okay, but that's the top done. Now the only thing left is to put it back in, and I was doing some cleaning in here earlier. It's still kind of messy, but that's all the stuff that goes under, is these. So these are my stands right now that it sits on top of, and it goes something like maybe like that. Yeah, like that. And it sits right on there. And then with the seats in this, it holds it in place because it's tight in there, and you can see it's not really even messing up my seat, probably because I have the carpet on it. The only other thing I could do is, I thought about it, but I'm not sure yet, is, you know, maybe use some nails at angles, right? I'd have to buy another tool for that if I really want to do it the right way, and secure these legs to that. I don't think I really want to do that yet, because the beauty of this platform is that if I really wanted to, I could just take it out. You know, I could even vacuum it better, carpet clean it, or rip the carpet off. But it's easy to pull in and pull out because it's not attached to these legs. Another thing I could do eventually, if I really wanted to, is get some PVC, plastic piping like that, and almost do like a cage style bottom for it, i.e. use the plastic PVC piping in a rectangular form, and then pipe up and then do another layer on top of that. So it'd be like a rectangular with 4 pegs, or maybe even do 5, 6 pegs, and another rectangle on top. And then I would just set that right on top, and then that plastic PVC piping, I could easily pull that out as well, and that way I could still stuff stuff in, because the pipe, you know, would just be obviously the outlining of the skeleton of this box. But for right now, I think I'm going to use these. I'll make another video in the future if I decide to switch these out. So yeah, I just have one on each side. I use one right there, and then just for gravity's sake, I use one in the middle as well. And like I said, between it sitting on this, maybe if I didn't have this, then it would be more of an issue, but it sits right here on this lip. I'm not sure if you can really see that, but yeah, see that little lip? It sits right there, and then on top of this, and then it just goes slightly up and sits on these. So the only spot that's really not planted, it would be the front, and the front's planted because of these, right? And like I said, because of the chair and everything else, these don't move at all. And I think it's even going to be more secure now that there's not all that extra material that could move and shift. But there is the final product. I think it looks pretty good. Overall, I'm very happy with it. If you have a platform in your truck or your utilitarian vehicle, SUV, whatever, maybe even it's a Honda Fit and you have something like this, post some pics below, or link your video if you have a video to it. I would love to see more of these. If you have a better way Maybe you made a platform and you have a video on it. Link it below. I would love to see it and check it out. Till next time, happy adventures.